Alright, Chapter 8, Review 2. Alright, the first three problems are right without exponents, and there's no decimal. So the first thing we have is we have 1 over 6 to the negative 2. So this negative, what does this negative do? Right, it brings it to the top. So that means that we have 6 squared. And then 6 squared is 36. Alright, now we have 1,000 to the 1/3. What does that say? It says, what to the third power gives me 1,000? And that would be 10, because 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. So 10 cubed, we have here, these would cancel, and the answer would be 10. On number 3, we have 729 raised to the 2/3, and then we have 125 raised to the 2/3. So you pretty much, and it says no decimal, so we want to do each individual. So we go 729, and I raise that to the 2/3. And what do I have to do? I have to put parentheses in there, right? Trying to see if that's better. Is that better? I don't know. For my calculator, it's better. But 2 divided by 3. Probably turn that back on in a second, but is 81, and then 125 raised to the 2/3 is 25. So we have 81 over 25. Alright, the next one we have is, we have 4,096, and we're taking the 6th root. So let me rewrite this problem. And we have the 6th root of 4096, and then we have the 6th root of 7, or z to the 27th, and then we have the 6th root of y to the 16th, or 17th actually. Alright. So the first thing I would do if I were you is I would find out if this is perfect. So I would go 4096 raised to the 1 divided by 6. And it is perfect. It's a 4. So since that equals 4, I'm just going to leave it like that. And then I have to find out how many z's can I take out. I have 24, so remember it's 20, I have 27. So I have 27 of them, and I'm dividing that by 6. And so I have 4 even. So I have z to the 4th. And how many are going to remain? Well, 6 times 4 is 24, so we subtract them, so that's a 3. There's going to be 3 left over. So I have, underneath my 6th root sign, I have z, and I have 3 left over. And then I have to find out how many y's. So I had 17 y's, so I have 17 divided by 6. And so I have 2 of them. I can take 2 out, so I'm going to take 2 out, so I have y squared. And how many do I have left? I have 6 times 2 is your 12, and then I have 5 left over because I had 17 of them. So I have 5 left over, and so that is my answer. Alright. here I have 216, so I'm going to see if that actually, we have the 216, I'll raise that to the 1/3 and see if that has a perfect cube root. And it's 6, so that means that that's perfect, so I'm going to go that this is 6, and then I'm going to take out how many x's I can take out. Since I'm taking out groups of 3, I can take out 1 x, and I have 1 left over underneath my cube root sign. And then my y's, I can take out 1 y with 2 left over. Because this one, remember, took out 3 of them, and I have 2 remaining. Number 6. I'm solving it out, so the first thing I have to do is I would, divide by 3. So I have x to the 1/6 is equal to your 3. Then I have to get rid of this. So what's the opposite of a 1/6 root? Or the 6th root is taking it to the 6th power. So I'm going to take both sides to the 6th power, and that gives me x will equal 729. Alright, number 7. What would I have to do first? Right, add 17. So I'm going to add 17 first. So I have 145 plus 17 is your 162. So that means I have 2y to the 4th equals 162. Then what do I have to do? Yes, divide by 2. So I divide by 2, I have y to the 4th equals 81. Now remember, since we have an even power, that means we're going to be looking for how many solutions? 2. So we're going to, what's the opposite of the 4th power? The 4th root, which is raising it to the 1/4. So I raise that to the 1/4, and we get 3. But we also know that negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 is also going to be 81. So that means negative 3 will also work. And also remember that you can always throw this back into the original, and you should get 145. Now, number 8. Number 8 says that we're looking for what root of this number will give me 0.8. So what does that mean? That means how many of 0.8s do I need to get this number? So if I would go and go 0.8 times 0.8, what does that give me? That gives me 0.64. Well, that's not the number I'm looking for, so I need to multiply another 0.8. So if I multiply another 0.8, I get 0.512. Well, that's still not the number I'm looking for. So then I go and multiply another 0.8, and I get 0.4096, and that's still not it, so I must do another 0.8. Another 0.8 will give me 0.32768. So if you go in your calculator and all I did was go 0.8 times 0.8 and got this, times another 0.8, got that, times another 0.8, got that. So now I know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 0.8s give me this. So I know that 0.8 to the 5th is equal to my 0.32768. And I also know then that the 5th root of this is 0.8 because the fifth root of 0.8 to the 5, these cancel out and that gets it gone. So that's why our answer is 5. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, number 9. Alright, look at number 9, and what do you think is the first thing we have to do? Yes, divide by 2. So we divide by 2. So I have 7u minus 6 raised to the 1/2 is equal to 6. Then what do we gotta do? Yes, square both sides. So I'm going to square both sides. So I have 7u minus 6 is equal to 36. And now we add 6. Just so I don't mess up, I'm going to take my calculator and go 36 plus 6 is 42. So I have 7u is equal to 42. And my last step is to divide by my 7. So u equals 6. And again, if you plug in u into this, you should get the right answer. Alright. On 10, what do we got to do on 10? The first step is, yes, divide by my negative 6. So I have here x plus 3 squared is equal to 36. Now we have again an even power, so when I take the square root, because remember the opposite of square is square root, or raising it to the 1/2, but that's still square root. That means I'm going to have x plus 3 equals 6 and x plus 3 equals negative 6. Yes. Then I have to solve each one out individually. So I minus 3 here. So I have the first one is x is going to be 6 minus 3 is 3. And then on this one I'm going to go minus 3. And we have here that would be a negative 9. Alright, the easiest thing to do is let's see what's on the top and what's on the bottom. So we, on this 11, which is to simplify. So we have c to the 6th, d to the 5th, and then d is also on the top. That's all over c to the 7th. Well, if on the top we know we have, I'm going to leave this c to the 6th for a second, and I'm going to clean up my d's. So I have 5 d's, and then I have one more d, so that means I have 6 d's. So I have 6 d's multiplied together. And on the bottom I have 7 c's, so I have c to the 7th. If I wanted to, I could rewrite this c times c times c times c, 6 of them, and on the bottom I'd have 7 c's. So when I cancel them out, I would only have 1 c left on the bottom. That's how we can subtract. So we have d to the 6th on the top and c to the 1 on the bottom. And you don't need the 1, but you can keep it if you want. I simplify, I probably don't want it, so I'll go d to the 6th over c. Alright. Find the 9th term of the geometric sequence whose first term is 24, whose constant multiplier is 1.2. So the first thing you need to know is the formula. Gn is equal to G1 times R to the n minus 1. Where G1 is your first term, so that's 24. R is your 1.2, and your n is your term number, so that means it's 9 minus 1. So in your calculator, I will put 24 times 1.2 raised to the 8. And we get 103.2. Alright. Next, 13, it says arrange the following from least to greatest, and the number n, the number has to be between 0 and 1. So when you choose your n, it has to be between 0 and 1. So what do you think you could do with this? Yeah, pick a number between like 0.5 and stick it in. So if I have 0.5 to the half and then I put that into the calculator, I'm going to get 0.707. 0.5 to the negative 0.8, I'm going to get 1.74. 0.5 squared, I get 0.25. And then 0.5 to the negative fourth is 16. So it says least to greatest. So I'm looking for the least number, which is your 0.25. So that means n squared is going to give us the smallest number. Then my next number would be this one. So I have n to the 1/2. My next number is 1.74. So that means n to the negative 0.8. And then 16 is my biggest, so that means n to the negative fourth would be that. Alright, number 14. 14 says find all real roots that are the sixth roots of 64. So we're looking for the sixth root of 64, or remember we can go 64 to the 1/6. Since so we have here we have 64. 64 raised to 1 divided by 6 is 2. But we also know that 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that is 64. But so is negative. So we have negatives. If we do the negatives of it, that's also 64. So our answer is 2 and negative 2. Alright, explain why negative 16 has no real fourth roots. Alright, well if you think about it, when we're thinking about roots, we're really asking ourselves, what to that power will give us that number? So what to the fourth power will give us negative 16? Well, there's nothing that you could take to a power to give us negative 16. So so we can say that any number raised to the power of 4 will always be positive. Right? Because remember, when you're looking for the roots, you're looking so you're looking 2 to the 4th is what? 3 to the 4th is what? Because you're trying to find what 4 times gives me 16. And this time it's negative 16. So you can't have it. Alright. So now it says which of the following is not equal to it? Well, let's see what's equal to this. Well, we know that we can go fourth root of k to the 16th. We can rewrite that as k to the 16 over 4, which is that one. So we know it's equal. Then we could divide this out. and that's a 4, so we know that k to the 4th, so that's equal. 8 divided by 2 is also 4, so we know that's equal. Well, let's see what D is. D is k 12 divided by, there's nothing there, so that's 2. So that would be 12 divided by 2 is 6. So this would be k to the 6th. So this is definitely not equal. Alright. 17. It says, how much money will they have at the end of the 4th year? So we need the formula. A is equal to your P times 1 plus R over N to the NT, where P is your amount, your principal amount, so you have 600, and your 1 plus your R is your rate, so 8% is 0.08, and divide that by, it says quarterly, your amount of times a year, so that's 4, and it's 4 times, because 4 is N, and then time is also 4, so it's also 4 there. So when you stick this into your calculator, make sure you go 600 and then parentheses 1 plus 0.08 divided by 4. Oops, and then raise that to the 16. I just do that right in my head. So that at the end of the year, this formula tells you how much you have. At the end of that year, you have 8,000 or 823 and 67 cents. Now on 18 it says what we have at the end of the 6th, or earn in the 6th year. So if you go how much you get at the end of the 6th year, yeah, then you have to think about what you get in the 5th year and then subtract the two. So it says that it's compounded annually at 7%, and we have 1,200. So we have 1,200 times 1 plus R, which is your 0.07, N annually, so it's 1, raised to the 1 times your, I'm going to do 6 years, times 6. And you put that into your calculator, and when you put it into your calculator, make sure you don't round too soon, because if you round in the middle, and you're going to have the wrong answer at the end, so you don't want to round at in the middle. And since this is the middle of the problem, we're not going to round. So I'm going to write down 1,880.8764. So I'm going to write that whole thing down right there. So 1,800.8764. And then I'm going to find out the 5th year. So it's the same exact thing, except for I'm going to change that 6 to a 5. Now plug that into your calculator and see what you get. Did you get what I get? I got 1,683.062. And now we can subtract them, because this is, now let's subtract them. So what my calculator, what I get to do in my calculator, I actually can go and say 1,800.8764, and then I'm going to go minus the answer. And so now you can round, and so now you get 117.81. So you have 117.81 cents for interest. Alright, number 19. 19 says that using this formula, you're going to find out the monthly payments of a loan, and it tells you what each letter is. So R is the rate, which is 12, so we have 0.12. L is the amount, so it's 10,000. Over 1 minus parenthesis 1 plus R, which we said was 12%, so it's 0.12 over 12 raised to the negative 60, because M is your months and it's 60 months. When you put this into your calculator, put the top in and then put the bottom in. So when you put the top in, you should get 100, and the bottom I get 0.44955. So then divide it out, and once you divide those two out, you should get 222 and 44 cents. Alright, last problem, number 20. Number 20 says that the dye solution is given by this, so we have where P is the percentage of the original remaining and N is the number of dilutions. So I'm going to simply put in my 9 in for N. So I have 0.5 raised to the 9, which I get, clear that out, 0.5 raised to the 9. I get 0.00195. And then it says that P is percentage, so that means I have to move this over to, so I have 0.195%, or you could also know it as 0.2%. Alright, that's the end of the review. If you need additional help, please stay after school, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Test is Wednesday.